ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monster Territory, brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Good morning if you are listening to this the following morning. It is 11:20 as of right now here on the East Coast. Yeah, kind of a bummer here tonight. You had the worst start of Garrett Crochet's year so far. They were able to make a nice comeback there tonight in the end. Close, but no cigar. A little too late. And I got off to a great start here. Great start. Alex Bregman homering in his return to Houston. Got a nice ovation there at the start of the game. Got a nice tribute. I mean, obviously, did a lot of good things with the Astros. And hey, he got his post Astro career in Houston. Started off on the right foot. Unfortunately, Garrett Crochet, just terrible timing, you know. And I've talked about this before with Crochet, where, I mean, yes, this is the war pig. This is our guy, right? This is why you're paying this guy the big bucks. He's been one of the best starters in all of Major League Baseball this year. He is definitely going to get some Cy Young votes. But he's not going to be great every single time. He's going to have a couple of hiccups along the way. And the Astros, they just had him figured out here tonight. I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if, I don't think, honestly, it was really any sort of like tip pitching or anything, or pitch tipping, anything like that. I think Crochet was just off tonight. I think the command was down. I think the stuff, especially with the cutter, was a bit down. Just too many hittable pitches. I just don't think he was able to hit his spots. The Astros, they were just hacking away. They were just swinging left and right, and they were just hoping to get the bat on the ball with Crochet, and that's exactly what happened there tonight. A couple of home runs off of him, extra base hits all over the place. Just not a good night for Crochet, and you're thinking this one, you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of you turned off the TV at some point, and I don't blame you. It was 7-2 at one point. You know, Jordan Hicks came in. It feels like anytime Jordan Hicks comes into the game, it feels like game over at that point. I'll give you my thoughts on Jordan Hicks here in just a little bit. But they made a nice comeback there in the seventh. You know, I don't like seeing all these runs come in bunches, but they made it exciting there. They made it a one-run game. The Astros bullpen, they just held on for dear life, and they were able to knuckle it down to the end. But, you know, they showed you something there in the seventh, right? Toro, he's been in a massive slump. He went deep. Massa, he contributed in a pinch hit appearance. Roman Anthony, the guy is just special, right? And, you know what's so frustrating? Is I'm seeing people on Twitter land. It drives me insane. Why are we paying Roman Anthony the big bucks if he's not coming through, you know, at the end of these games? He's striking out in these key situations. Why are we paying this bum? It's like, holy bad take. Can we cut it out? It's like, dude, I wonder if some of these people on social media, if they actually watch the game. I don't know. I don't get it, because Roman, this guy's special, right? Big jack there tonight, 2-run shot. Tied it up in San Diego, had a walk-off against the Astros not too long ago. I mean, what else does the guy have to do in his rookie season? And then you got people on here saying, oh my goodness, what a waste of money, striking out to end the game. It's like, well, give me a break. Give me a break. Unbelievable. You know, Roman coming through in a big spot there. And unfortunately, yeah, striking out to end the game. But you know what? The fact that he was the reason, along with, you know, Toro and Massa contributing as well. He was the big reason you're even in that spot in the first place. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the nonsense. Roman Anthony's amazing. This guy's going to be a special player. Anyway, moving on here. You had the big comeback there. You just fell short in the end. You know, there was one decision that I thought was interesting late in the game. Romy Gonzalez stealing second base, getting thrown out. No, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. You know, Rob Refsnyder, he was up against the righty, so it wasn't like he was in that perfect situation to try and do some damage off a lefty. Let me actually double check on that one. I think it was it Aniel? I'm going so blank on that. I believe that was Aniel De Los Santos who was pitching, or was it? Hold on, give me a second. Ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. We are looking, because this is going to drive me nuts if I can't figure out or remember who was pitching there in that spot. That was let's see. Yeah, it was De Los Santos. Yeah, he had come in. He replaced Steven Okert. So you had the righty-righty matchup against Refsnyder. But still, I don't like taking the bat out of a guy's hand. That's just how I feel about that, right? There's 2 outs. I mean, yeah, the runner's on first. Would moving him into scoring position obviously help you out? Yes. But I don't know, man. I've always been one of those where I just don't like taking the bat out of a guy's hand. Who knows? Maybe Rob ends up, coming through with something there. Anyway, it is what it is. Other than the game here, we got some roster moves that happened today. David Hamilton, Chris Murphy getting sent back down. I'll give you my thoughts on Hamilton along with Murphy in a little bit. Nick Birdie getting DFA'd as well. And then a couple of call-ups from AAA. Ali Sanchez, that might be a name you haven't heard of all too much. We'll talk about him in just a little bit. That is now the 3rd catcher at the Major League roster. And Giovanni Moran, he's getting the call here. Remember, they got him back in a trade not too long ago. We'll talk about him as well. And there's even talk about maybe another prospect down in the Red Sox system, Luis Perales. There's possibly some talks going on that maybe he could get called up to the Red Sox by the end of the year. You might be scratching your head hearing me saying that. Well, Robbie, didn't he get Tommy John? Well, yeah, that's what kind of makes it intriguing. We'll talk about that by the end of the show here tonight. We do have a couple of sponsors here tonight. I'll get to those in just a little bit. If you can, everybody, hit the like button, subscribe. If you're new, we're trying to get to 5K by the end of the season. We are within 500 subscribers of that milestone. If you can help us make it happen, I'll love you forever. Now, let's get to it here. Let's get to Garrett Crochet. Obviously, it was a tough night. Yes, the comeback. That was a big story on the night here tonight. But Crochet, if you didn't have that comeback, this was going to be the top story on the night. He looked really good in the first couple of innings. He had he had 4 strikeouts over the first couple of innings there. And then he just ran into a freight train in the 3rd inning. Cam Smith with a double. Sweeper didn't quite have that same bite on that one. Carlos Correa with a base hit. That made it 2-1. It was a fastball right over the middle. You can't be leaving pitches like that with Correa, especially a rejuvenated Carlos Correa. Can't be doing that. And then Christian Walker. This guy's been just wrecking the Red Sox this year. You go back to that last series. He had a couple of key hits there. He had the home run that made it 3-2. It was a 1-2 count. He was trying to put him away, and it was a cutter that he threw. That lacked bite tonight. There was a little less movement on that pitch there tonight. I don't know, it looked a little more flat than usual. Caught a little bit too much of the plate. Yeah, can't be doing that. Christian Walker, sure, he's had a down year compared to what he's done over the last few years, but you can't leave a pitch open over the plate like that. And then the 4th inning, the misery continued. Urias had the double there. It was a 9-pitch AB, so, caps off to him for fighting against Crochet like that. And then, on the double, the pitch there, fastball caught too much of the plate. And then Chas McCormick with the home run that made it 5-2. He left a sinker up on the first pitch. He just didn't have the command there tonight. The location really lacked. Like I said, the cutter didn't really have any bite. It looked flat, at least to me. And overall, his worst start of the year. 4 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned, 5 Ks, 2 homers. And like I said at the beginning of the show here, just around 5 minutes ago, you're not going to have a perfect start every single time. Even go back to Tarek Skubal against the Red Sox back, a couple of months ago. The Red Sox got to him, so like these starts are going to happen. That's where part of me, I kind of wish the Red Sox, listen, I'm not going to keep going back to the deadline, but you just wonder by the end of the year, however the season ends, the Red Sox fall short in the end. You just wonder if another guy behind Crochet could have made a lot of a difference, right? Because, something like this could happen in the postseason. You never know. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But this is where you got to have guys behind him in the bullpen. You got to have guys behind him in the bullpen. And Jordan Hicks, he followed him up there, giving up another home run. Jordan Hicks, I don't know what to say. I really don't. I'm kind of almost at the end of my rope with Jordan Hicks. It's the same old thing. It's good stuff, but he just can't locate. The command's off. There's definitely something mechanically going on There is something mechanically going on, in my opinion. I would love to figure out what that is, but he just has no command. He's just throwing it. He's just a thrower at this point. I don't know what happened, this year, but he just feels like a guy that, I don't know. Even though you're down at that point, 5-2. I mean, still, it's a 3-run game. You want this guy to come in, whoever to come in, and just keep it tight. And look what the Red Sox did late. This could have ended up being a win here tonight. But Jordan Hicks, he's just not reliable. And I think at some point, I mean, I wonder if Cora is going to trust him enough, even when you're down 3 runs. I mean, because you're still in it at that point. You can't help but wonder, man, if at some point they turn their eyes to the minors and you look at a guy like David Sandlin, who has pitched a couple of games in relief here over the past week. Still, David Sandlin, this is a guy that's been a starter. So he's still trying to find his bearings coming out of the bullpen. Trust me, these starters, they're all about routine, right? And when you're going to a new routine like that, it is going to take you some time. I can't help but think of when Curt Schilling, when they were using him as a closer back in 2005. Remember that? Who in the chat remembers Curt Schilling as the closer in 2005? I'm gonna be honest. I remember at the time when they were first doing that, I got revved up over the idea, but it didn't work. He just did. I mean, the guy had been a starter for years. It's like it's hard to make that transition. So David Sandlin, I mean, yeah, great arm, and I know a lot of people on social media, they'll say, oh, David Sandlin, I mean, this guy's got great stuff. He's got a good fastball. His breaking stuff has looked really good this year. You got to find your bearings there first, though. So let's see how he looks over the next couple of weeks. I hope David Sandlin ends up figuring it out of the bullpen and he gets a routine that he finds comfortable. But he could be an option if he gets it figured out. And then Luis Perales. We'll talk about him after we're done with the wrap-up here. We got a little something on him as well. But you just wonder if someone else is going to get a shot at some point. I just think Hicks right now, he's just not reliable. Even Isaiah Campbell, he came in. He looked pretty good in the 6th inning there. Whitlock, he was fantastic in the 7th and the 8th. So, I don't know, man. As we get closer to the postseason, you got to start figuring out these roles. You have got to get this bullpen, the roles figured out. I'm all about the roles in the bullpen, the roles on the dinner plate. I'm all about the roles. But you got to get this figured out here. But getting to the offense here. I mean, like I said at the start of the show, you know what, actually? Hold on one second. We do have a word from our sponsor. I'll get to the offense in just a second. I'll be right back.
We have a little breaking news on HelloFresh. We've talked about them for a long time, but this summer, they have their biggest menu upgrade yet. Ready for this, Todd Father?
Talk to me.
They have doubled their menu. Doubled. Now you can choose from 100 options each week, including new seasonal dishes and recipes from around the world. 100 options per week.
That's incredible. But to start out, what they had before was absolutely perfect. Now to add even more for your go guys like me. I got baseball in the morning. I got baseball afternoon, all day, every day. I need something to get going. I need something to eat, and it's absolutely delicious, Scott.
That's right, Todd Father. The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM right now to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on a first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That is HelloFresh.com/FT10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life.
All righty, let's get to that offense now, shall we? They got off to a hot start, like I said. Roman had the base hit, first pitch of the game, and then Bregman with the dinger, just like old times in Houston, hanging sweeper. They made it 2-0. And then, they could have gone for more here. The Red Sox, over the last week or so, they were doing so well for a while there when they had their opportunities right in front of their face to keep adding on. They just fall short, and you had that again here. Even though, yes, you got off to the good lead there, but Duran, he had the walk. He stole second. Story with the pop-out, and then Wilyer. Actually, Carlos Correa made a nice play on Wilyer Abreu at third base to get him. But, yeah, with Duran in scoring position, when you got that speed there, one little bloop, that could have been a 3-0 game. Second inning, again, you had another runner at second with Seti. He got the walk. He stole second, and then he got picked off. He looked like he was trying to steal third. Again, the Seti base running. Oh, there's times where it's like, man, what are we doing? He got picked off. He ended up getting caught there. I just don't understand. Like, Ronel Blanco, this guy just came back. And you're thinking to yourself, and you already got off to a good start against him. Like, why are we trying to be that aggressive against him? You have the speed. Just hang out at second base. I don't get that. Drove me nuts. Fifth inning, Roman. He got another. Rome was just hitting the ball hard there tonight. Roman deep drive to center, ended up getting caught. But the big seventh inning there, that was the story for the offense there. Abraham Toro, we just talked about this past weekend how he's been struggling. He got into one there. That made it 7-3 at the time. Seti, it's funny, I talk about the base running, but this is where Seti kind of redeemed himself a little bit. He had the double. He thought about going to third. Ended up staying at second. I'm thinking, as soon as he started making that turn, I'm like, no, please don't go to third. And he ended up staying. So there were 2 outs. There was no need to do it. And then Massa, he pinch hit for Carlos Narvaez. Great call there. Got the double. That scored another run. And then Roman, absolute shot out there into the bullpen. He's special. He is absolutely special. Like I said, 3 clutch moments already on the year. Had the walk-off hit against the Astros at Fenway. He had the game-tying home run against the Padres. But in the end, you just couldn't come through there. All right. Romy ended up trying to steal second base, trying to get the runner in a scoring position. I understand it. Again, this is hard because I see both sides to it. The one side, I just don't like taking the bat out of a player's hand. And I know it's Rob Refsnyder. He's a lefty machine. He's a lefty killer. He's a machine against the lefties. He was going up against the righty in that situation. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, it's not the best matchup, when you look at the splits, right? So maybe you do want to give yourself a better chance of getting that runner into scoring position, right? But so I see both sides. I really do. For me, I didn't hate it necessarily, but it was frustrating for sure. Frustrating. But then De Los Santos, guy closed it out in the 9th. Couldn't do anything. Well, Connor Wong did. Connor Wong, I think that's the most, with what we've been seeing from Connor Wong, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he ends up doing better than what he did there, but that might be the most clutch Connor Wong hit I think we'll see this year. My goodness, it was a hard hit ball to short, bounced off his cleat or whatever, off his glove. I couldn't quite see. Went into the outfield. Wong, the one thing about Wong that I think is pretty underrated is his athleticism. He's got a bit of speed and ended up getting into second base. So he gave you a chance right there. And then Roman came up, and you can't expect the rookie to do everything. And that's why it's going to drive me insane when someone is going to say something about Roman on social media, even though he was the big reason why you're even in that spot in the first place. So it is what it is. Final score, 7-6. Red Sox just falling short there. But, a few takeaways. Again, Crochet, he is not going to be at his best. Every single start, he's going to have a hiccup there. And, I think with Crochet, in a way, it's like, there's things about it where you can try to turn a negative into a positive. And I'm sure he's going to look at it this way. He's going to look to see what he can do better against a team like this, right? Against a team that has these kind of bats. If you run up against the Astros in the postseason and Crochet's on the mound in Houston, well, he's going to have to look back at this start and think, okay, what adjustments can he make, right? And with how good he's been, I think he's going to be a guy that really uses this for some fuel. Absolutely. So I guess you could look at that as a positive takeaway. Getting back to the bullpen, you got to figure out what are you going to be doing here in these middle innings, right? Is Jordan Hicks still going to be a guy that you keep going to? Do you go someone else at this point? This is where I would love for Justin Slayton to hurry up and get back. No, don't hurry up too soon and rush yourself and then get hurt again. No, I don't want that. Come back healthy. But that's where Justin Slayton is going to be huge when he comes back. And or you go to the minors, maybe give someone like Sandlin a chance or Luis Perales a chance here. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. We are going to get to the Game 2 preview. Before we do, let's take a quick look at the standings here, just like we're going to be doing pretty much every post game. And, again, you haven't been playing amazing here over the last 5. You've lost 4 out of 5 now. But, hey, you're still firmly in that spot. You're still looking all right. So 65 and 55 as of right now. You're still up on the Yankees for the third wild card spot, game and a half. The Yankees did win here tonight. And, they've been struggling as of late, but, not too much of a change. The Mariners did win their 7th straight here tonight, so they are now 66 and 53. They're a game and a half up on the Red Sox, so the first wild card, 3 games up on the Yankees as well. Guardians, they lost again here. Let me take that back. They've been playing very well, but they lost here tonight. They're a game out from the 3rd spot. The Rangers, they got hot there for a little bit. They've been slumping. They've lost 4 straight. They're 3 back. So not too much of a concern when it comes to the standings, but, it's unfortunate that you fall a game behind here from the Mariners for the first spot. So getting to the Game 2 preview. Now, this is going to be interesting because to me, listen, I don't want to start getting into a habit here of starting to lose series left and right. They were winning, they won 4 straight series. I don't want to start, losing series all over the place. I don't want that. So this is going to be a big one for Dustin May here tomorrow. He did not look good in his debut for the Red Sox. Again, I do think he is better suited for the bullpen. I think for him, this guy, that guy's a competitor, man. Say what you will about Dustin May, but that guy wants to go out there and compete, and he's been a starter his whole career. So I think the sound of going to the bullpen for him is probably like nails on a chalkboard. But I do wonder if that's going to be the best spot for him. Getting back here to Jordan Hicks, could that be a guy that you turn to? I don't know. Would he be a good fit in the bullpen? I don't know. Who knows? We just talked about earlier finding a routine out there. That would be new for him. He's pitched a little bit in the bullpen in the past, but, this year he's made 19 starts. So, I don't know. But he didn't look good in his last start against the Royals. 3 2/3, 6 hits, 3 earned. He looked all right in the first couple of innings. He was getting some swing and misses, but his velo started to drop. He looked gassed. Hey, first start after the trade deadline, debut with the Red Sox. We can just say that's a mulligan right there. Let's see how he does here. But these Astros bats looking hot here tonight. This could be a tough matchup. But the Red Sox, listen, they got a favorable matchup too. Spencer Arrighetti, he came back not too long ago. He missed a lot of time with a fractured thumb. He did not look good in his last outing here against the Marlins. 3 2/3, 11 hits, 5 earned. Did have 5 Ks, so there is some swing and miss there. But he's had issues going back here the last couple of years where he's been home run prone. The command has not been great. So, hey, the Red Sox, they got hot there. Can they carry that momentum here into Game 2 against Spencer Arrighetti? We will see. We will see. Not much experience against Dustin May. Taylor Trammell has a home run against him in 2 ABs. Other than that, though, not much else. Christian Walker does have 4 hits against Dustin May, so let's see if they can figure out a way to get him down. And then against Arrighetti, Yoshida does have a home run against him, so I would expect Yoshida to be in that lineup tomorrow. We will see how this goes. But if you are with me on NESN, we are going to start wrapping it up here in the next couple of minutes. We are just about out of time. So if you do want to see the full remaining segment of tonight's show, we're going to talk about the roster moves that happened today and some potential roster moves as well. If you want to see that, come on over to YouTube, come on over to Monster Territory, and come see the rest of the show. But NESN viewers, we'll be back here tomorrow night for Game 2. We'll see you then. Everybody on YouTube, let's wrap this up. A lot of familiar faces here in the chat. Sean, Emily, Moose, how we doing? Gabriel, what's going on, my friend? Andrew, what's going on, my friend? How you doing? How you doing? Sean, Juan, good little rhyme there. Brett, how we doing? Nick, Aiden, Jennifer, Marco Scudero is my hero. Oh, we've got some Astros fans in here. Mario, how we doing, my friend? So, let's get to it here. Let's get to it. Some roster moves. Before I do, though, we do have one more word from our sponsor. I'll be right back.
Kratz, tell everyone why they need to look into a virtual private network, aka a VPN.
It's kind of like wearing trousers. It keeps everything private and secure whenever you venture out.
That's good. That's really good. And Surfshark creates user-friendly privacy and security solutions to protect your data and your privacy online. It enables you to virtually explore the globe, browse privately by encrypting your internet activity, and block ads and malware that may disrupt your experience. So go to surfshark.com/foul or use the code FOUL at checkout at surfshark.com to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. It's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee, and the FT fam is hooked up with 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN when you sign up at surfshark.com and use the code FOUL. It is time to take control of your online security. Try Surfshark today.
Alrighty, let's get to the last segment here. And we had some roster moves here today. Getting DFA'd Nick Birdie. He was a guy that was pitching well down in the minor leagues this year. Was pitching well at times with the Red Sox. He got called up at one point. But in the end, the Red Sox felt like, hey, they had some other options there. And also getting sent down, we had David Hamilton and Chris Murphy. Now, David Hamilton, when that game against the Padres happened, right, where he was unable to put down the bunt there. He was trying to bunt for a hit instead of just getting the bat on the ball and just getting the bunt down. Ended up striking out on that. And then at second base, people were talking about Xander pushing the handoff. But for me, you just got to make a better slide overall. You got to make the slide and just get onto the bag and then don't slide off of it, right? If that doesn't happen, we're not even talking about that, right? So that's kind of where, once I saw that, because really David Hamilton, he's extremely limited. Sure, he's had a couple of hits along the way, but not really a whole lot at all, to be honest, on the year. And the one thing he has is his speed, and that's where he can bring a lot of value, right? But if he's unable to put down a bunt, if he's unable to stay on the bag on a stolen base, then is he really bringing you a whole lot of value, right? And that's something maybe he can just go clean up down to the minors, and maybe he ends up getting back up later on. We'll see. But coming back up here, but it's not just David Hamilton, I think. I think one of the call-ups, I think it probably said that the Red Sox, they felt like they needed to secure this position a little bit more, and that's the catcher position. And they just recently claimed Ali Sanchez from the Toronto Blue Jays catcher. And actually, when you take a look here, when it comes to his advanced metrics, it's not a qualified sample size, but overall, he has a great pop time. He has a very good arm, 1.90 on the pop time. That, even though it's not enough of a sample to be qualified, it still ranks very high. And then he's a good blocker behind the plate. He has 2 blocks above average on the year. And, with Carlos Narvaez, seeming like he needs a bit more rest here down the stretch. Kind of wonder if the Red Sox, they're looking at that and they're thinking, all right, I think right now we're we're fine. When it comes to the infield, feel like we're all right. I think, wanted to get a bit more depth at catcher. I think just to kind of manage Carlos Narvaez a bit more. Could this maybe mean something for Connor Wong at some point? I don't know. With Wong, I find that unlikely, to be honest. I don't know, because Wong, at the end of the day, sure. Has he been the most productive player? No. No. But he knows the pitching staff. That has value in itself. All right. But then again, maybe the Red Sox feel like if they really want to have the best roster possible, and if Ali Sanchez, if he starts showing a couple of things, could that be a route they go? And when you take a look at the numbers with Sanchez here on Prospect Savant, he's got some reds here when it comes to the batted ball profile. He wasn't striking out a ton. He was kind of middle of the road, a little below average, but not a whole lot of swing and miss. He was in the 66th percentile down at AAA. There's some things with Ali Sanchez that you kind of wonder. I mean, it's not going to be anything that, blows the roof off the place. But at AAA this year, he was hitting 279, had a 347 on base, 419 on the slugging. I mean, what's that really going to be at the major league level? But, he was having some success. He had 6 homers over 54 games. So when you look at that, that defensive profile that he's been able to show, along with a couple of good things when it comes to the play, I wonder if the Red Sox feel like maybe he could be a guy they turn to more often. We will see on that one. Another guy they called up was Giovanni Moran. Remember, with Giovanni Moran, they got him in a trade with the Twins a little while back. This past offseason. And he hasn't really pitched. Right? Well, 2024, he ended up being out with an injury for the entire year. But he did show some decent things with the Twins in 2023. Had over 10 strikeouts per 9. Was very good at keeping the ball in the yard. 0.6 home runs per 9. Had a 3.82 on the FIP. A very high ERA, though, 5.31. He was walking a lot of guys, 5.7 walks per 9. So this kind of reminds me a little bit of Jorge Alcala, but just a completely different profile, right? There were some good metrics there. And this year, down in the minor leagues, I mean, this guy was pitching great for the Red Sox down there. 18 games overall, 26 innings. ERA was a 3.81. FIP was at a 1.84. He had almost 15 strikeouts per 9, under 3 walks per 9, 0.3 home runs per 9. There could be something here. There could be something here when it comes to Moran. And taking a look, and you got some reds here on Prospect Savant. There's a good amount here. He's getting a good, like we just saw the strikeouts, ranked very high, very good walk percentage. He was keeping the hard hits down a lot. He was 91st percentile with the hard hit percentage. So, yeah, why not give this guy a shot? Gives you a different look back there. And taking a look here, when it came to his stuff plus, the fastball is an interesting pitch with him because there's not a lot of velo on it, but there's action on the fastball. Has a lot of vertical action. And overall, the stuff plus on it was a 101. Now, at the major league level, among all pitchers with at least 30 innings pitched, when it came to the fastballs, that stuff plus would rank top 30 overall. Let's see how it translates, but stuff is stuff at the end of the day, right? We'll see if that can translate. But I think this is an interesting one. Could this guy end up having a pretty decent role for the Red Sox down the stretch? We will see on that. Now, there is one more interesting move that could end up happening, right? We saw the debut of Peyton Toley with AAA, got off to a rough start, but then he really settled down, looked a lot better. And we talked about, could he be a guy that maybe gets a couple of starts down the stretch? We'll see. David Sandlin has been a hot topic. He was, like we just talked about earlier, a starter. Now he's in the bullpen, and the Red Sox definitely think he could be a guy that can contribute. Still has to get settled in. But another guy, Luis Perales. Alex Spear had this in the Boston Globe. One potential X factor for the Red Sox down the stretch. Right-hander Luis Perales. The 22-year-old is more than a year removed from Tommy John surgery. He's on track to start throwing live batting practice at the end of the month. Given his potential for a triple-digit fastball to go with a splitter and slider, the Red Sox haven't ruled him out as an end-of-the-year contributor. if everything goes according to schedule, and that's always an if, there's a high velo arm with multiple spin pitches and a splitter that we're pretty excited about. I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. When you take a look at the Red Sox top prospects on Baseball America, Luis Perales ranks number 8. Yeah, he's got a big fastball. They got a 65 grade with him. He's going to be in the upper 90s a lot. He got a lot of good life on it. He's got a good cutter. He's got a good splitter as well. They get a 55 grade for each. And when you go back, when you take a look here at his numbers, let me actually pull up his numbers here on Fangraphs. Going back to his last, well, we go back to last year. That's when he was last pitching. He had 9 games, 9 starts, 33 and 2/3 innings. He had a 2.94 ERA and a 1.91 on the FIP. 15 strikeouts per 9 between high A and double A. So didn't really get too much of a sample at double A. He had a couple of starts, but I mean, he was looking phenomenal. 12, how many? We can just look at the standard numbers. When it came to his 2 double-A starts over the 7 1/3 innings, he had 10 strikeouts. He only gave up 1 run, 4 hits. So, pretty good numbers. Again, small sample. But this is a guy that has shown a lot of promise. You know, if you go back even to 2023, in A-ball, ERA under 4, 11.5 strikeouts per 9. His command was a little iffy at that time, 5 walks per 9. But he's really, the last time he pitched, looked a lot better. So this is definitely a talented arm, and it was unfortunate he had to miss so much time. My thoughts on this, I don't know about this one. I don't know, man. Like, you're just coming back from Tommy John. You're throwing bullpens. Is this something you really want to rush right now? Is that a smart thing? Because listen, if you're Luis Perales, I mean, what a great story that would be. I mean, it would be an amazing story, and that'd be cool if it happened. But I just look at the health. And again, the Red Sox, they have a great medical staff. I mean, they know a lot more than I do. But do you want to be a guy that's coming back from Tommy John who didn't even pitch in AAA? I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if you want to rush that. And especially when you come up to Boston, there's going to be some adrenaline there. The guy's going to be just chucking fastballs, right? I don't know. The thought of it it makes me cringe a little bit, to be completely honest. If it happens and he's healthy, hey, great, right? I just wonder about the long-term health. He's a young arm, just coming back. Do you really want to risk it? I don't know. Because again, you're gonna have that extra juice, and one bad, of course, one bad throw can happen anytime. But do you want that one bad throw? Mechanics getting off a little bit. Do you want that to happen after you just got him back? Hadn't even pitched at AAA yet. Is that something you want to do? I don't know. Sounds a little risky. If it happens and everything goes fine, what a great story that would be. We will see on that one. But everybody, that is the news for tonight. Unfortunately, a rough one for the Red Sox tonight. Well, it was looking all right there at the end, but we weren't able to close the deal. Let's see if Garrett Crochet can bounce back in his next start. Let's see if the offense can keep it rolling here tomorrow to back Dustin May. Going to need a better start from him. We'll see how this goes. Same time tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. If you can on the way out, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you tomorrow night.